Let's check the oil. The old Komatsu. How am I gonna do this holding the GoPro? Oh yeah. I just ran it and let it warm up a little bit. So yeah, we're good. We're good. Oh, come on. Can I do this with one hand? Maybe. Shoot. There we go. Sight glass. Yep, we got hydraulic oil. So let's get her greased and get these teeth sharpened. All right, got the teeth sharpened, and these teeth you sharpen from the bottom side, not the top. And all I do is just take the grinder, and once they start getting a little bit more worn, I start grinding them more on the back. And what that does is, you see, it gives it like a little bit of like a curve on the inside. I'm trying to bring this angle up and give me a little bit more life out of the tooth as it wears. And so I'll start, as it wears a little bit more, I'll start grinding it on the back, and that'll give me a little bit more. It thins the tooth a little bit, gives me a little bit more life. But when you're cutting these hardwoods like we're doing back there, sharp teeth really help in that endeavor. So I've been trying to keep these pretty sharp, sharpen them every 8 hours, and that's looking good. So we need to put some fuel in the old girl, and we'll be on our way. So let's put some go-go juice in her, and we'll be off. Happy Tuesday, everybody. We are back out here in the woods, out here in this dry swamp. We have not had rain in a long time, which works good for me out here, because this is all nice and dry in this low bottom. And I was actually watching John over at Upstate Brush Control. He puts out a video every Sunday, and he was talking in the video how they haven't had any rain in like forever either. We got 17 inches of rain in August, and now September, nothing, zero. So let's take a look at what we got, and we'll get back to nuking this swamp out. Let's get it. All right, got the Komatsu here, got the oil checked and everything, and got her greased up, got the teeth sharpened, got some fuel in her. She's looking good, ready to go. So we are nuking this swamp out, and basically you see all this low area through here. This is what the owner wants to take out. See all that brown discoloration through there? That's where the water has come through here and darkened this and kind of pooled in here. This is what we want to open up through here. So we're just coming through here and taking all this stuff out. And yeah, that's what we're doing. So got the TMC Kinsella THI 1 Hundo on this machine. We saw me get the teeth all nice and sharpened. And when you're cutting these hardwoods like this, sharp teeth really do make a big difference. I try to sharpen the teeth about every 8 hours, especially when I'm doing bigger hardwoods or bigger trees like this. So that really helps. And if you like what you're seeing with this THI 100 with this TMC Kinsella, you can always contact my friends over at CCE Equipment if you're in the Carolinas. And if you're not in the Carolinas, you can contact our regional rep, Frank Hollowell. And if you're also interested in becoming a dealer, you can talk to Frank Hollowell. And there's a link and the phone number in the description below, and you can use the promo code IDIGIT. So that's what we got to do. Someone was made a comment that my video was like an infomercial, and yeah, it kind of is, because when I'm out here working, I want the videos to be entertaining. I want you guys to obviously enjoy what you're watching. But so many people contact me about buying a different machine. I just got off the phone with a guy in Florida who's looking at buying a machine and buying one of our TMC heads. So many people contact me, call me, message me. And when I was first getting into business, I had to scour the internet, the forums, the YouTube videos, calling people. I emailed John over at Upstate Brush Control to try to get information about this equipment, and so when I'm out here, I try to just, show you guys the stuff that I wish someone had on the internet when I was getting into business. All the successes and the failures and the tips and the tricks and all the information about the equipment, because I'm such a nerd for this stuff when it comes to, horsepower and flow rates and hydraulic flow and RPM and all of those different things. I love that stuff. So I wish someone like me had been on the internet talking about all that stuff. So I talk about it. It gets a little nerdy. It gets a little infomercial-y sometimes. I can't help that. It is what it is. If you don't really like it, it's not your thing, just skip on through. No big deal. So, all right, enough talking, more grinding. Let's get to work. All right, guys, we finally got some rain. I forgot to get a after video when I left the other day, and the owner pulled the machine off the job and it went back to another job because he thought after the rain it might have gotten a little too wet in here, but we didn't get enough rain. At first that hurricane was expected to hit and we were supposed to get like 7 or 8 inches of rain, and then it turned. We only got maybe 2. So it's really not that wet in here. I could have kept going, but he wanted to get it out of here in case it flooded. So I went back to another job that we may be going to tomorrow to do some work for the next couple of days. But we got a good chunk of this opened up through here. Obviously we still got to keep going further back, but I'll show you guys, like, now that it's kind of wet in here, what we're talking about. You can see these like low-lying areas where that's discolored in there, that browning right there. That's where the water has come through and kind of pooled in here at some point when it was really flooded. And you can see when it goes through here, it actually washes away the dirt around the trees. You can see that's kind of built up right there where the roots are, and everything else is kind of washed out from up under it. So this will help kind of open this up, help with the drainage, help with the sunlight, and let some of these bigger trees, you know, some of these bigger, nicer trees grow up. We're not taking everything, but we're just thinning out some of the crappier, smaller, crappier stuff up underneath, but leaving some of the bigger, nicer trees that will flower and come up really nice. There's nice red maple, a lot of red maples in here. These are red maples right here. So, and other little hickory trees and water oaks and stuff in here. That's a water oak right there. So there's some nice little hardwoods in here. Couple of pines, the odd pine, but a lot of hardwoods. So we'll just keep opening this up, and I'm sure we'll be back with the machine. This looks good. Looks really good. So he's happy with everything so far. So this turned out really nice. That 8-ton machine was just small enough to come through here and let me weave through these trees and open and clean this stuff out. So we don't have to go too much further back that way. You know, that's about where we're getting back into high ground there, but just kind of keep this line going further back that way and following the low areas. And then we got to do, there's a bunch to do here. So all right, I'm out of here. But you guys will see this video before I leave on Monday to go to the expos. So don't forget, I'm going to be at 3 expos coming up. The utility show in Louisville, I think it's October the 7th, the 8th, and the 9th. Then we're going down to Valdosta, Georgia. Or actually, well, I'm going to be staying in Valdosta, but the show is in Mulchie. The Sunbelt Ag Expo, I think it's the 14th, 15th, and 16th of October. And then back to Louisville for the Equipment Expo, which is the landscaper hardscaper show. I think it's the 22nd, 23rd, and 24th of October. And then I'm going to Charlotte for the football game with my brother and some friends of mine. The Panthers are going to play the Bills. We're going to get crushed, but it'll be a good time. And back home, then back to work. So if you guys have time, please come to the expos, come check them out. They're an awesome time, great time. At the Ag Expo in Georgia, we will have a booth there with some TMC equipment that we're doing in conjunction with Rut Manufacturing. So you guys come by, I'll have some stickers, maybe some hats if I've got any left. Come by, say hello, get some stickers, check out the equipment, see the show. It's a lot of fun. So all these shows are a lot of fun. So if you guys see me walking around, say hello, get a picture, get a sticker, and I'll see you guys at the show. So hope you guys have a great week, and I will catch you on the next one. Bye, everybody.